Are there more wheels in the entire world or more doors in the entire world?
Oh, wow.
And we're on. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Last Week Liquid podcast. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Terrence, better known as T.R.A.C. Terrence is a drum, bass and hip-hop MC with releases across the likes of Shogun and V Recordings. You can catch his latest release, Breaking News, alongside Winslow, out now on all platforms. Terrence, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Glad to be here. Happy to be here.
Apologies again for turning up late.
It's funny. I didn't even realize that it was daylight savings here, that happened pretty much Saturday.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, it's already 5 o'clock in the morning as Doc Scott's in town here. And I was just really shocked that it was 5 o'clock. And I said, I haven't stayed up till 5 in the morning in a long time. In my mind, it was still 3 or 4 o'clock. So it happens.
Yeah. It was like, what were the chances that we set a time and then clocks changed and we didn't check changed. And then I was like, shit, is it already 12 where you are? But anyways, so yeah, sorry again for being late. I hate people who are late at meetings or whatever, so I'll take the blame on this one. But yeah, how are you doing, man? How are you keeping? You were busy with your birthday last week. I saw plenty of good wishes on Facebook and the grams and all that.
Shouts to everybody that wished me happy birthday. That was super. I took it more of a sentimental thing than anything than most years. Usually, oh yeah, thank you, happy birthday. This year was more of a thank you, seriously thank you, because there's a lot of reflecting and a lot of things going on, and good to know you're surrounded by really good people who think about you. So
yeah. Did you get to get up to anything special?
Did the family thing for the most part. I have a brother. Me and him are like video game geeks sometimes, and we were just we bought like a couple stacks of Coronas and played video games for the rest of the day.
Nice.
And then that, believe it or not, that was like the best time in the world. I don't know how, but it was.
It's the simple things, man.
Simple things. And after that, shouts to Tom Brewer. He invited me out to the Doc Scott night, and Doc Scott played an amazing set, pretty uplifting set. Man, it was a really good night. And I think I saw just about half of New York in there. So yeah, that was a really good thing to see. Man.
Sick.
And that's how it ends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm turning 30 in 4 days.
Big man.
I don't know. I'm not gonna ask what birthday it was for you, but me, like the big three is coming, and that's like a big one for me. So I'm I don't know how I'm gonna feel afterwards.
You'll be fine, man. You'll be fine, man. I remember 30.
Yeah. How did you manage moving away from the 20s?
I thought I owned the world at 30. I'll say that much.
Okay. That's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. And it's a bit, it's a mature version of 20. Let's just
okay.
Like it.
It's 20 with more experience.
With more experience, and it just feels like you're a big boy. So
nice. I'm not sure I feel that way yet, but we'll see. So yeah, brilliant, man. Really happy that you were able to come on and that you answered so quickly and that you were down to come on. You are the first MC on this show.
Oh,
first
wow.
drum and bass MC after this is going to be episode 78 or something. And by no fault, well, partly myself not reaching out to a lot of MCs, but also trying to reach out to MCs and MCs just not getting back to me. So that's on you guys. I've been trying for a long time. And but yeah, so first MC on the show. I don't really know where to start because the questions are like so different and the topics are different, I guess.
I love variety. I'll answer what I can, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, let's maybe just kick off just with your latest release. Winslow, a good friend of the show, obviously, came on twice already. Once. And all round nice guy of drum and bass.
Really good guy, man.
So your latest track, Breaking News, with him on his latest EP for Hospital. How did that track came about?
The long short is we would always thinking of working together. when I first got put on to Winslow was mostly through a fellow named Valiant over in Canada, and we had him on our we do a podcast here
Yeah.
with Amani, me, and Valiant, and we had him on the show just showcase. And I just remember going to myself, and this is pretty much just before the hospital thing happened, that I was like, hey, this guy is pretty special. I'm kind of curious to what happens, and this guy needs to be looked after. Lo and behold, this guy was being looked after. And the opportunity came with Winslow when he had the track. And before, like me and him kind of laugh about it behind the scenes, how we were like, this is such a different track. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm just trying to be different, T. I was like, yeah, let me see what I could do, have some fun. And lo and behold, we had a little did we know that we had something that was like really rolling, man, really bopping. And yeah, I was shocked. I didn't realize it. And shouts to London Electricity, as we had like a small conversation. And I just happened to ask him, because the song wasn't out yet, hey, so what do you thought of that track? And his eyes lit up like this. Like, oh yeah, yeah. I was like, what? Oh, okay. And lo and behold, here we are. It's a very fun record. I'm glad that it feels like we set off the year for drum and bass a little bit, you know. And I'm glad the responses are still coming with that for the most part,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the great thing I think also with collaborating with Winslow is that he's going to go the extra mile for the promotion aspect of it, and that's going to give like a second life to the release.
Second life.
I don't know if you felt the same way, but
I love good promotion for good records. I think that is so needed, especially with the amount of drum and bass tunes that come out, and so much gets overlooked. Most of these songs are, most people want a little bit of a fighting chance for people to see their records and see what's going on. So for us to have a nice platform to just be creative and do some things where we can stretch a record or give it the love it needs, I'm all for that. So long short, I'm happy for how everything turned out for the long.
Yeah. Did you need some convincing to do the whole news anchor thing to promote that track?
So surprisingly, no. Over the last I would say four and a half years, I've touched another secret, something that I've always wanted to do, and that's been video editing. And so when they were like, hey, so we want to try this, we had some options. I got friends who are like Steven Spielberg with it. But I was like, hey, let me try it out. Let me just shoot my part. I got a green screen. Don't worry about it. And lo and behold, then, I was like, trying to be a director a little bit of my part of the thing.
Yeah.
And listen, it was just fun doing the record. It was just literally fun to do the video as well. So, they let me do it. We sent it back and forth. I believe Winslow was the one that put it all together, and there we are.
Yeah, nice. I love that you mentioned video editing, because that's the topic I wanted to talk about as well. I know you experimented over the years a bit more with video editing.
Yeah.
Is it important for you to like explore other things beyond just the music?
Like this. So I would want to tell you, if my high school that I applied for would have kept their part, and the reason why I went, I'd probably be more into cameraman, lensman work and video editing than into MC. So it was pretty much a small school, and Chelsea Vocational, it's out here. We went there, and the first thing they were saying, well, we don't have enough money for this. We don't have no money for that. But I liked the school because of its location and where it was. And yeah, there was a music label that was not too far away by the name of Def Jam. And all these things were there. And it was just a whole nother thing, because I've always been an MC, of course. But I didn't realize how far away I moved from video editing and all the camera work and stuff, until one day I had a really good talk with a friend of mine who just encouraged me said, look, you should look into it. And I did it. And I kid you not, I was a little kid putting pieces together, of course, making my mistakes. And I continue to make every director or every video guy makes mistakes and they learn from it and they build. So I mean, to be honest, it's a really happy space for me right now. I'm enjoying every bit of this whole new side of the world. You know, it gets complicated, but it's still fun. I don't see the pain in it. So
nice.
yeah.
I love that, man. I think it's something a lot of creatives chase, is the feeling of when you're a beginner and everything's kind of new and you're trying to piece stuff together, and over the
Yeah.
years obviously you gain experience and the novelty wears off, and then you're like, oh wow, I could actually do graphic design, and then that becomes a brand new thing.
A whole new thing.
So it's cool you found that. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's been a couple of things where I had tried to salvage some videos, and of course, for a project me and Mav did, I did all the stuff. I had to look back at that project and realize how much stuff I did on the whole Sonically Speaking album, not realizing, because I was it's what I mean. I was so in love with what I was doing. I was like, what? I could just, and it was just like, wow. And, looking back, yeah, it's crazy. And one more story I'll share. So there was the Bellyman car bar situation where we did all the MCs. That year, I hurt myself pretty bad and had a big surgery on my knee and fell into a small of a low. But these guys wanted to do a car bars situation and have a visual for it. So the long short is, I don't want to give you all the details. I had one leg with a camera in the car that had me in the driver's seat, the passenger seat, and the back seat. And you wouldn't know it, but I was literally having the hardest time getting into every seat possible in the car. And I guess that's love for me to want to go through all that pain to shoot.
Yeah.
I'm crazy. I'm crazy for it, but that's where I'm at level wise with the power of video editing and shooting and stuff. So it's a lot to learn still. So
yeah, but it's a fascinating skill to have, I think, because it allows, I think, storytelling on a whole new level. If you look at, like, coming back to Winslow again, and I know he's listening to this, so big up to Wins, but he does a lot of videos, obviously, on his YouTube channel, and dissecting topics and being a producer and all that. And the way he edits everything together really brings it to life. Whereas if you were just, this is obvious, but like if you're just reading it off a page, it doesn't have the same impact. But when you manage to create all this animation around it and all of that, it's, something I'd love to do one day as well.
I would say jump in, man, and let the pains be,
Yeah.
Jump in and let it. It's. I swear to you, like I have friends that I've known for years and I respected them so much for what they did that I never really tried to be like, what's this, what's that? Because I just felt like I'd be annoying them and like, but then I just went ahead one day and did it. And now they're like huge supporters of, they help me out on the side with a lot of small things, So man, it's a fun space to be.
Yeah.
Mm.
So just going back in time, because you mentioned school, was going into filmmaking your original creative love or your passion when you were younger?
I had a high curiosity for visuals. Like I remember, we're talking about junior high, and my favorite class was pretty much camera tech. I forgot what it was called, but it was like, it felt, he showed us how to hold the camera, and I'm like maybe 12, 13 years old, and we were shooting like little interviews. We shot the pizza store, things in the community. And I always was so like, I would love to do this. I was always like super eyes open. So I just figured, when high school comes, but I was also good at rapping, of course. I wrote, and back then in junior high, I ghost wrote for friends, and they would go and take the fame whenever they got on stage and rap the words while I was like, and play it along. So they were always hand in hand for the most part, but my eyes were so much into visuals, crazy.
Mm.
But then, you know, writing has also been a savior for me. So yeah.
Yeah. You became good at something else, and then that kind of pulled you
Right.
away. And yeah. I'm gonna be asking a ton of like probably stupid questions here because again, you're the first MC on this show, and it's
Actually, don't worry about it. All
it's
the
a
MCs will be proud.
it's a word I'm really not familiar at all with. So when you were mentioning ghostwriting for other MCs, how does that work exactly? Is that what's that?
Ghostwriting is pretty much uh some people can say a rhyme, but maybe they possibly write it. And I don't want to say that so hard, but
Mm-hmm.
just on a level of like, I might have an idea that may not fit me, but it might work so great with this person, and if they buy into it or whatever, they'll go ahead and, say, I mean, the time that I was talking to was for like, giggles, you know, they wanted to show it was like one of our big school auditorium moments, and these girls and this guy, they wanted to really shine and have some hot rounds, but the band playing behind them, and it was left to me for some reason to write the rhymes, and they worked, and they were so happy for it, and I was so happy for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have, at the time, to be honest, I didn't have the guts to be on a stage and do what they were doing. So that was a whole another level of thing. But yeah, ghostwriting is just somebody, you filling in the words for somebody else so much in so many ways. Conceptually and just whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's also a fun space to be, but of course, in the world of hip hop, if somebody doesn't write their own lyrics, they're somehow seen as, fake or whatever. It's like, dude, let everybody get over themselves for a little bit. Because, I can understand more of the braggadocio stuff, where if you bragging and boasting, all right, you didn't write, that's not you bragging, that's somebody else bragging. But if you're talking about the more conceptual musical things that, that's a whole nother, that's a whole nother level to me. So I mean, if somebody wants to write something for me and it works, then I would definitely look into it, so.
Yeah. And I'm guessing if they want to, you'll credit them whenever you're promoting the track and stuff like that. So it's not like it's a big secret or anything.
It's not a big secret. Yeah, the secrets. Yeah, the secrets. You pay for secrets is the best way to say that. You know what I mean? If you don't want anybody to get credited, you should take care of them. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know like ghost producing is also something that happens, but I don't know, probably not in drum and bass because there isn't the money to actually finance
it. Ghost producing happens in drum and bass.
Okay, yeah. Well, I know in bigger genres it's more common and it's quite frowned upon. I've never really thought about it. I don't know what my stance is on. I think I probably align with you that if an artist is like bragging about their tunes and whatever, but they're not producing them or whatever, that I'd see an issue in that. But otherwise, it's like art is always collaboration and inspiration and feeding off each other and stuff like that. So
absolutely,
where's the line in the end?
and also in the end, everybody makes the record what it is. Everybody involved. So there isn't any like nobody's left out or should be left out in that respect. So all right, this guy may have not been able to write this Shakespearean styled poetry, but he damn sure delivered it better than the guy that wrote it or whatever or whoever, And the same, and I guess in production it's a little bit more trickier, because I do feel everybody's at the table.
Yeah.
And the idea needs to come together, and then somebody goes, let me do this for you.
Yeah.
And they walk away. There's a lot of people who are part of amazing records, who are big names, who just did this and went their own way to help somebody else out in some form.
Yeah.
Because of vibes. It's literally because of vibes. There's no if I put this down, I want 50% or, it's just we're all in here trying to make something happen, so.
Yeah.
Now, if you make $1 million, I hope you come back and say.
Yeah. But, it's funny. I think I read it or I saw somewhere in a YouTube video or something this week that like I think it was Dr. Dre's first album was like really like either produced by other people or stuff. Like I had no idea. It's really not a sorry, a genre I'm really familiar with, but that felt a bit strange, I guess, for such a big artist.
Yeah, Dr. Dre, Puff Daddy, a few others. You know, a lot of these guys had people putting their ideas together. There's a different name for producer. Sometimes a producer isn't a beat maker, so that's the tricky part to it all.
Yeah.
So you may have an idea, and I might come through and be like, "Hey, I like that, but let me do something with this." And I'll do a little something and get this artist on it, and then get this person on it, and you are the producer, and I'm the producer. So I just help produce this record.
Yeah.
And I guess everybody still gets credited, but I will be seen maybe for namesake, maybe for just the fact of what it meant to have this thing become what it was.
Yeah.
That person becomes the the primary person that's name seen on the record.
The name
for the
on
most
it.
part.
Yeah.
It's one of those worlds, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those. So if you're not comfortable with it, your best bet, as with anything else, is to speak up and have the communication.
Yeah.
And that way you can come to a conclusion faster than to see a record take off and you're like, well, what's going on and why am I not? Nobody knows I did this record.
Yeah.
So it happens. So
it's a tricky world, and in drum and bass also, with the whole like sampling culture, and are you allowed to use samples from which era and all of that, like the whole concept of ownership and who wrote what
and who wrote what, and that's
it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's and I kind of guess that's only happening now or over the past couple of years, simply because the scene has been uplifting itself a bit, because before then I remember you could just sample away and like we'll put it out, and now it's been like hard replaying or hard ways of manipulating the record so it doesn't, it's I'm a huge sample guy, of course, too. I love samples before anything else. But the business of samples it's so shitty that you want to know, you don't know what you get away with or what you won't get away with. And it's in bigger labels and people in higher spaces won't take that risk unless they know. So it's a tricky world. My advice to artists is be yourself and don't care about anything. Just be yourself, and then when you get to these spots of of questions, eventually something will give. You'll know. The answers come. The answers come. You just got to go ahead and put it forward, though.
Yeah. So, going back again in time. So you mentioned ghostwriting because you weren't that comfortable, I guess, emceeing or rapping yourself. Do you remember that period of time and when you kind of became comfortable?
Oh man, that's a hell of a question, man. So like, I grew up a good amount of my time being a proper shy fellow. I'm still shy, I believe, in some form. I am, So like, it's always the introverted ones that have all this power, creativity in them, and eventually your time comes where you get encouragement from your friends. You might get into your first rap battle. You might even be prepared, but you say something and everybody in the room is screaming, "Oh my God, what did you say? Oh wow." And this other dude who was like super confident is like, "Oh really? I didn't know." And but yeah, high school was probably where it really began in Chelsea. Like I guess we had like an ill cipher on stage for our senior year situation, and I just lost it, to be honest. I lost it. At the time, we were close to. I was in a group and we were close to getting signed to a label that dealt with the leaders of the new school and all these guys, and we were kind of seen as the next thing. And I was still shy then. I wasn't ready for anything. But we got on stage with my friends from high school, and this footage of me just like losing it. I was like, oh, I was like, I started loving it for some reason after that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that may have been the first steps, because I want to say even after doing that, it wasn't necessarily let's go to another stage.
Mm.
It was it was I'm intimidated by the artist on that stage because he's so damn good that I don't want to go up and mess up that goodness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like always these little baby steps of moving forward to get into those spaces and getting your confidence, because it's all about confidence at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any advice on building confidence? Because I know that's a big thing for upcoming or beginner MCs, but also just singers in general. It's a much more vulnerable position. I feel, at least personally, when you're creating art, like when you're a producer, you're hiding behind your production. You know, it's when it's
Right.
your voice singing, it's a whole other level of like, this is me and vulnerability. How did you kind of, I guess, build up confidence, and what advice would you give to others?
So there's a couple ways to answer that. The overall answer I could say is try and care enough until you don't.
Mm.
Uh, when you get to the don't part, you will see a lot more things happen than the struggle. You know, the journey to making sure everything sounds cadence good, or making sure the words are properly, and then memorizing. And then, you know, there's you shoot yourself a lot in the foot when you overthink, and that's natural for a lot of people. You want to really be at your best, but at some point after you do all this, you have to come to the conclusion that you know what, it's either I don't like this, or I like this and I don't care. Like
Mm.
literally, I like this and this is what it is, and this is how, because it's something about that part of the attitude that makes it what it is.
Yeah.
And once you know, some people understand it for a long time and other people make visits to it. And that's the best way to say it.
Mm.
Um, but that's for the overall confidence. But as far as like techniques and situations of the sort, you know, it's like a scribble book, man. You got to scribble in the book until something shows.
You
You
got to
know,
show
you
up.
and don't be scared to try something you never tried before. It doesn't, you
Mm.
know, the more embarrassing, the better learn.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I learned that when I was young too, as well. As I'm saying this, but it's just, man, you once you there is a confidence that you don't see in yourself.
Mm.
There is a untapped but tapped reservoir that of like you might be like just letting out frustrations, and within the letting out the frustrations, you don't see that there's this little good amount of good energy within you that you're blasting with it. And
Mm.
of course negative, but it's what you want to see and how you see it.
Yeah.
But once you catch on, man, it's no stopping you, man. There's just no stopping you. It's just not. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think practice makes perfect. Uh, and figure, and it, you will figure out your signature with pounds and pounds and years of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that quote, man. I'm gonna steal it. Like, I don't know how you phrased it exactly, but care enough until you don't care anymore. Was it
Right.
something like that? I I love that, because that really translates the fact of like, care enough so that you actually work on it and work and craft and like build your craft, etc.
Yeah.
Until the point where, okay, from now on I'm gonna stop caring and just actually do it.
Yep.
It's a great summary. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, figure it out. By the time you have it together. It's this great piece of work that you believe. You might even come across and say, this is the best thing I ever done in my life. Then you walk up in this room and it's like, a lot of tastemakers and friends and people. Man, listen, we'll just say friends for now. And you're like, you gotta listen to this. Then you hit the play on the button and everybody goes, it's all right. And you're like, what? Are you not listening? And why drive yourself crazy? Get your statement out, get your flows, do your best, man. Just do your best. And after that, let it out and then don't expect. Because sometimes the things that you think are amazing may not be, and then it's stuff that you think that isn't amazing. It's the stuff people go crazy for. So don't drive yourself crazy. Just, and I also take that same idea with me when I do videos and shooting as well. It keeps me humble enough to see forward at least. So hopefully somebody out there is hearing this and going, yeah, he's right. That's right.
I'm sure this is hitting home with a lot of people. I love that advice. And I think it applies beyond emceeing or rapping, just any artistic endeavor where you're kind of being vulnerable and putting out your art. And I think that applies to anything really. I love that. So yes, staying on the emceeing topic is, again, first MC on the show. Gonna hit you with some hard questions, but what makes for a good MC on stage?
Stage wise.
Yeah, we can get into the studio afterwards.
Stage wise is presence, format, and a bit of spontaneism added. Speaking for myself, I want to make sure that I fit in with the crowd rather than the crowd fitting in with me. So whatever the crowd is at, I need to be there. You know what I mean? I have to check the crowd. I have to check myself. That will put you in a great space overall for you. You may not measure up to whatever went on before you, because whatever happened might be the greatest thing that ever happened in the world. And here you come. And now you have to figure out how do you make sense in this. And, also, I guess that also involves namesakes and people who are, but if you don't pay attention to that, here we go with the not caring. Go on stage, do you, have fun, do all the things that makes you as far as, but definitely keep the crowd just enough interested. And I guarantee you'll be way happier with the final, with how the results show. Because I like that. These dudes rock, but I really like what those guys did at the end. It's all possible, man, because people are there to be entertained and to have fun and enjoy and release, and anything that leads to that is great. So yeah.
So how do you practically, when you're on stage and you might be like probably nervous and you're like, how do you actually check in with the crowd? How do you get that feeling of, okay, they're on this level and I'm not really on the same level and I need to adjust? How do you perceive that?
I was gonna say just by opening my mouth, but it's you get on, you check things out. You want to see where people are. For me, every MC does it. Everybody wants to see if they're even going to bother listen to you. And so I might be like, yo, how's everybody doing? And everybody just goes, they lose it. And that kind of lets me know where I'm at. So let's just say when I say that, only 5 people react to that. I already now know that I need to just speak to those 5 people. Because those 5 people are going to turn into 10, turn into 50. It's before the whole night is all going to be in there. But if you're not necessarily the type to want to interject, my advice is to also don't look at people in the face.
Okay.
Don't do it. Do not do it, because you might freeze. You may not like. You might just misjudge the reactions. And your best bet is to look at the heads and look at the overview. That way you can just, you can still be yourself. You can even put yourself in a daydream just to get past a bit. But, and let's be honest, man. Sometimes people could be mean.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't react right, and artists are very fragile sometimes.
Yeah.
And they don't, they may not. I've seen some things happen in my time. So, but overall, it's just people know especially if people know who you are, then your job is pretty much halfway done. You just need to be the person.
Yeah.
And let it go. And that's where it starts, But
Yeah.
it's a builder, and it's a confidence builder. And before you know it, you'll be in your own place, and people will recognize you for you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
This is fascinating to me, man. Honestly, like this is all new stuff to me, and coming back to like learning new stuff and being excited and being a beginner. This is all new stuff to me. I find it fascinating. So you mentioned presence. You said format.
Yeah, format
What's that exactly?
is when I say format, everybody has kind of a layout. Everybody that's on stage, some of us are great off the head freestylers. Some of us have certain words and raps that we always say at the joints, and they all get sort of just laid out in a certain way so they doesn't sound so redundant in situations. And let's be honest, like drum and bass MCs, when we're like with another DJ, you're on it for 2 hours. You know what I mean? So you're feeling the vibe. You got to make sure you're pushing the sound. DJ's got to do his part as well, and it's just got to look like a marriage. And part of that marriage is how diverse you could be within the set itself. And because once redundancy hits, everybody sees it for the most part.
Yeah.
And
it's like I've heard that before.
Right. This guy said this or what. So you just have to. And then at the same time, there are MCs who could say 2-3 words and the crowd repeats every line for them because they put in that years of that classic verse or that classic saying or whatever, And that's so format is what you came to do and how you're going to do it along the set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a part also of emceeing with the same DJs, like DJs that helps you in your performance, or not so much?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, DJs who love you are the greatest DJs in the world, to be honest. I've been lucky, man. A lot of guys who come to New York, they all really can't wait to play a tune or two with me around. And so it becomes easier for me to just be like, oh, he's going to play this song. He's going to play that song, High Ground. Sure, let's go. And it gets snuck in, and it's a great vibe, and it just creates more of a bonding between everybody. Crazy because the hometown crowd is happy that they're the one of their own is getting loved by this more higher dope DJ that's showing it. And then if I'm on stage with them, I'm performing the record, it's just a whole nother situation as well. So I love when that happens, to be honest. So I love when that happens. I'm always grateful when it does. So
yeah. And so moving to the studio side of it, maybe before jumping into that, when did you kind of move into the studio, like writing, recording your vocals? I guess that came a bit afterwards.
Writing and recording started way early for me. We used to have composition. I probably still got them at my father's place, like just pounds and pounds of stacks of composition books just filled with all kinds of writing from light to dark to dirty to things I shouldn't be saying. You know what I mean? And it first started there. And then I got into the. I'll try to combine both questions a little bit. So I got into the booth, and how I write. First and foremost, it just looks ugly. And then number two, I'm scratching lines out that I don't really scratch out clearly. And then I'm in there sometimes I'm not so prepared to this is the early me now, like not so prepared to record. I'm just trying to feel my way through it. So that kind of situation leads to way too long in the studio to try to get things out and done. Um, if you're lucky, you're not paying for it because
Yeah.
But even if you're at a homie's place, they're going to be like, "Come on, bro. I know you could say the word cat, bro. There's nothing wrong." You know what I mean? And so, you know, um, the better prepared you are, the more you really, the records you really want to do, you get them. That's how I feel about it. If you're stressed, you should really look into yourself as to why you're stressed, because you need to get that situated fast as you can, because you're going to go in there and you're going to do this, and you're going to have to, figure it. I think one of my first times I ever tried to like just do something where I just thought I could will it in. I remember the guy he says, "Yo, T, man, this may not be working." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yo, bro, I hear what you're saying, but it ain't. I think you need to like really learn those lyrics. I think you need to reread that page real quick, because I'm not going to sit here all day with this nonsense." And it was a learners for me right then and there,
Some
because
tough
yes,
love.
yeah, it was tough love. And I think just about that time, rappers were talking about one take this and one take that. So now they're putting more peer pressure on you as if you need to. And the truth is, a lot of cats follow artists who do these one takes, but don't know how many times those artists have to beat those lyrics into their head before they went into the booth. And, I think preparation, it just means that preparation is the best practice for you to move forward, and you'll knock it. And yeah, man, feel it out, man. But the better you are prepared, the easier time will be in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just on that one take thing,
Mm-hmm.
is comping not so much of a thing in rap and MCing?
Say
Like
that again.
comping vocals, because I know in whatever like sung vocals in pop or even drum and bass, like the singer will do like 30 takes, and then
Oh,
you'll pick like this sentence and this word and comp just all the best words
oh no, that's
together.
still running rampant.
Okay.
That's still running rampant and everything. So you got to blame Frank Sinatra. I blame Frank Sinatra.
What did you
I
do?
know R.I.P. to the great, Mr. Blue Eyes himself. People want to go in and make it seem as if I can just say these words and everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. The end.
Yeah.
And as folklore goes, he would just say it and he's gone. And
Okay.
he kind of lived a lot in life, even with acting, where it'd be like, this guy, the director wants to take another take, and he's like, "Another take? Didn't we just get it? Yeah, it's great. So what are we doing it for? I'm out here." And then just go on. And you got your G's, your Biggies, and everyone else who kind of live with that same idea. But hey, listen, man, like it's practice, and if you're ready to put in that practice to be able to have that kind of like mechanics working within you, then God bless. Personally for me, I like to keep looking at things. So I'm a little unconfident, but I'm not unconfident to the point that I can't get things done. I'm just trying to see if there's any more in me about it now that I'm saying it out into a mic. And you might learn a lot within those situations as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I never really understood the I don't know, appealer of like one takes, because in the end you're doing it for, well, in my opinion, you're doing it for the listener, like the person listening at home or wherever, and you just want the best version, the best product for them.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so if that takes 20 takes and cutting up and selecting the best phrases, then so be it. I don't know.
Yeah, there is people who believe that that's the way it should go. And then there's people who say, well, maybe, you know, it's almost ideal that your first take is usually your best take, because that's your initial thought of
Yeah.
how you feel when you're in there. So when you're in there, whatever it is, this is the standard. And maybe there's possibly another better take than your first take, depending on how you feel afterwards. You know, you might, maybe I just a little bit more energy, or maybe I can, flip and turn some things around. But your first take will always be your tone and everything, because I believe that's what you're thinking initially. This is how I want it to sound.
Yeah.
And that leads into where it leads to. But it's a creative world. We build blocks. We knock them down, we rebuild them, we replace them. So I don't really believe as well that we just put the blocks up and that's it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But that's just me. So
no, everybody's entitled to their opinion, obviously. But yeah. So moving on, then, when did you? Sorry if you got this question like a million times, but like, when did you discover drum and bass, and especially, I guess, especially like for a US MC where obviously hip hop is huge. When did you kind of, I guess, make that shift, and what convinced you to spend so much time in drum and bass?
Yeah, this guy's he loves this question as well. Shouts to IQ. DJ IQ is one of our New York City zone hip hop junglists as well. Really dope guy, man. Really cool. He's pretty much my brother. So much brother from another. And we met through another DJ. And at the time, I was working at Def Jam for a while, and he wanted me to introduce me to a fellow who does beats, and they wanted to do a mixtape and do some amazing things. And at the time, I was like, hey, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll just mess around and rap again or something like that. And going to his crib a couple times, he was pulling out records from, just from UK style records. And he was playing this, and he's playing something from Bambaataa. He played some Kraftwerk. He played just a whole bunch of records. And I was like, hey, I just heard this on the radio with my brother. And we were coming back from somewhere, and he was saying, yo, this is going on in the UK. And it was like, you hear all the yamens going everywhere. And it's like the Shabba Ranks voice going in and out. Lord, Lord of mercy, Lord. I was like, oh, what the hell? It's like, yeah, this is supposed to be the new thing coming. And this is way back. But I remember at the time that I guess I kind of respected it, but I was just like, I don't know, it's not what it is. So to run into IQ maybe a week or so later and to have the same conversation, it was like, yeah, I just heard this the other day. And I remember at one point he just kept going so deep that I just fell asleep in the midst of I'm sorry, bro. He knows. I was just like, Dad, I think I've heard enough. I get it. You know what I mean? I accept it, but it's, this may not be what it is for me, whatever. But also credit him for always bringing it up. Yo, you should try this out. You should try this out. I'm telling you, just be yourself. Just try it out, And one day it definitely happened on Liquid Sky. The record was next level shit, featuring myself. And little did we know the effect that record did at the time. I'm still blown away by what it, that moment in time, becoming a nice little underground cult classic. And, we had chances to see the world off of that record. I wasn't traveling as an artist anywhere until that record. I didn't ever had a piece of vinyl with my name written on it. So I was all kind of gas in Geest in 2000, 99, 2000.
And so that was that was like a jungle record, or
that was a jungle record. Okay. That was a jungle. It was a jungle. Actually, it was a jungle hip hop record.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just really crazy because even as that was going along, I was like, okay, so if this is where it starts for me, this is where it starts artist-wise speaking. Probably took no more than maybe 2001. I still don't know if it was because of the World Trade Center tumbling, but somewhere after that, I just fell in love with drum and bass. Like literally, mentally, I knew that that's where I wanted to be. Yeah.
Do you remember like records specifically that you heard where you were like, I need to stay involved in the scene, or was it more just a general vibe? Or
it was a general vibe because I didn't know the artist, of course, in those early times. I mean, of course, you can mention Frost, Big Bad Heavy, what's the name of that record that Andy C did? Walk through the shadows. Is it? But you see, here I go messing up titles.
No, I'm terrible with drum and bass history.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it was like that, and then you had a lot of, just listen, man. And then there was just a lot of dope New York talent that was out here just playing their hearts out every night. And some of those guys were, great producers, and Wally Pish Posh. Just a lot of heads, man. It was a moment in time. It was a moment in time. It was probably New York's real prime golden era as well, from that late 90s to the early 2G to early 2000s. And all I know is that at 01, something changed, something gave, pride started to show, and I knew that this is where I wanted to be. Yeah. In the midst of it all. Yeah. Just felt like home out of the blue. Yeah.
I find it amazing when, like, you speak to drum and bass artists and you can feel that there's a connection to the scene on a much a very deep level that I don't really get in like other genres I listen to, like techno or even like rock, heavy metal, other fans. You don't feel the same sense of like, this is my scene, this is my life, that you get in drum and bass.
Yeah, that's I have to agree with that. Even with hip hop, like hip hop guys, it was about, you don't know about hip hop. You don't know, that's what hip hop was for a minute. With drum and bass, it was never really thrown it in your face like that. I just felt like we all it was this family feeling of like, there was more inclusion once you got it. I used to also agree that it was an acquired taste. But after the years, I said, you know what? We were making that up too. People love good music at the end of the day. And, whatever there was people, there was a fella who came to a Bookham night and didn't even know, he was asking me about drum and bass, but they called. And he was like, yeah, and Bookham, he plays this super atmospheric, soulful, tribal feeling type. And I was so lost. And he was like, and then there was this MC on stage that was rocking with him. And I said, oh, that MC, huh? And trying to give him the hint. Oh, that MC in Brooklyn Bowl, right? Yeah. I
know him.
That. I think I was there. So, as far as stateside it's ways to go for people understanding. But once you get in and the feeling it does for you, man, is something special.
Yeah. I don't think maybe it's just because we're in this scene, but I don't feel there's the same thing in other scenes. But maybe people say that of every scene. So I don't know.
could be as well. I won't take that away.
I want to hit you with a new segment here that I want to try out. A quick fire round. So sure. I'm gonna hit you with 10 short questions, short answers. See how well you do. So, Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Question 1. Any nicknames?
Any nicknames?
Do you have any nicknames?
Terry.
Terry.
Yeah, Terry. Yeah.
Okay. Best drum and bass memory.
5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning with Brian G in Brooklyn.
Most embarrassing drum and bass memory.
Throwing up on my birthday at Concrete Jungle.
That's normal. That's not embarrassing. Pre-show ritual.
Space, time, thoughts, and working up the courage.
Nice. Best DJ you've shared the stage with.
Oh, that's not fair, bro.
You can shout. If you shout out just one, it's not throwing shade at anybody. If it's just
okay.
One.
I don't know what to say here. I don't know what to say.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll give you one joker. That's your joker then.
Yeah. Thank you.
Favorite venue, either to perform or just attending?
Brooklyn Bowl.
Occupation if drum, bass, and hip hop didn't exist?
Video.
Video, of course. Any superstitions?
I do have one, but I can't remember it. I do have one, but I can't. Don't talk about it until it happens.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. One thing you could change about the drum and bass scene?
More stateside, more open-mindedness. Overall, I don't know. Yeah,
that's one thing. That works.
Yeah, just more open-mindedness is good. Yeah,
I like that. All right, and finally, are you team wheels or team doors? I don't know if you heard about this.
No, I don't.
So it's a bit of context because I don't know how many people heard this. I think it was going on TikTok or social media, and it's basically this debate: are there more wheels in the entire world or more doors in the entire world?
Oh wow! I'm gonna have to go with doors.
That was a quick one. Doors. Yeah. I said wheels. I think there's because if you count like every car, there's like
every
four
car
wheels.
Has 4 wheels.
And then
but there's a lot of houses with a lot of doors.
And bicycles and bikes and motorbikes and
yeah.
I don't know. All right, team doors.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well done, man. Well done. Great. I'm gonna slowly wrap this up. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, man. Really enjoyed this one. Gonna close off just with a few questions from my lovely patrons. Got quite a few questions from Nathan here. So first one, he was asking, what was it like collabing with Cyberposix and Valiant MC?
He's following pretty well. Never too late. Valiant has been wanting me to do something with for him for a while. The opportunity came in that song, of course, and I'll be honest, like I was impressed with the production of Cyberposix. They kind of left it to me to sort of just come up with a pretty solid idea, of course. And then the overall to it was like, hey, this is a really classy, touchy record right here. Yeah, so I had fun with Cyber and Valiant. Shout out to both of them.
Yeah, was that on Focus Recordings?
I want to say it's Focus. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Also asking any guidelines or guidelines, tips for collabing and communicating with other artists to get projects done on time. Very practical question.
Oh, that's a big. You're asking for too much. You got to know the person you're working with. It's nothing wrong with checking in. It's nothing wrong with bothering an artist. I mean, don't overdo it, of course. But if you got something to be done and you have a time set of what you want to do, it's probably good to just let them know that we need to get this done by this time. And that will save you a lot of stress. And if, I think that's the best, like, again, communication is key to a lot of people. And a lot of artists want to know how much you want them to work on something too. So always feel, they're going to only tell you the truth at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, more communication is always the way to go. You can't do too much communication in this type of context. So this is probably a broad one, so I don't know how specific you can get, but he was asking, can you detail like the hip hop versus drum and bass worlds, and what is it like, kind of, I guess, similarities or differences working in those two environments, those two scenes?
If you ask me, there's music wise, to me, there's no difference. For me, it's almost the same. Maybe this is, friend says, maybe you're Neo in the Matrix because you somehow get it. And, there's people who will pay trillions and they don't know what to do. But as far as scenes are concerned, the hip hop scene, especially now, it's over the top. It's everything. It's got, people are, it's in comparison, whenever I'm in London and I go to these parties and drum and bass, it's just as thriving, just as thriving, maybe more. Yeah, I'm going to give drum and bass the dancing. There's more dancing in drum and bass. There is dancing in hip hop, but there's a different. I like the dancing that happens in drum and bass a little bit more. Sorry, hip hop homies. I'm sorry. I'm just talking like I see it right now. That's all.
No shade thrown.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know if hip hop is more like of a vibing attitude, whereas yeah, if you're dancing to the 174 BPM, then you're properly moving then.
Right, and there's less vocals in D&B, so people are all in the vibes and not trying to repeat everything all the time. Until track comes along and people like me, I guess. I don't know.
All right, and last question from Patreon, and I think it's a great one to end this chat on. Asking, what do you predict for drum and bass vocal work in the future? Any trends, vibes that you see coming in the future?
Oh man, that is a good question. I'm happy to hear more quality. That's the best way to say. I'm happy to hear more quality, and that's from the singers and from the MCs. I'm happy to see that labels are taking a lot of these vocalists a little bit more serious to have these, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's an artist in the scene, you know? So I just feel it's important for these artists to flourish and to have their moment. For as much as they've been on these stages and as much as they've been involved behind the scenes or whatever, you know, if they're able to create something and it's pretty well, it should be encouraged. You know, it's the only thing it's going to do is help the scene grow at the end of the day. So as far as what I see down the line future-wise, I think I'm going to sit down in a seat with all you guys, you know, with a glass of lemonade and enjoy the ride, man. That's pretty much it. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of really good stuff out there right now. I'm enjoying Leo Wood. If you don't know who Leo Wood is, check out Leo Wood. She's amazing. You know, yeah, of course, Colette and Rhea, they stay busy all the time. Degs, you know, listen, man, Dusky's he's still familiarly new, but he's been all right. The mighty T.R.A.C, Dynamite. Yeah, I can go on. You guys know the names. Yeah, we can go on for days here.
Yeah, now the future is bright. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Love this chat, man. Really nice meeting with you. Bunch of other topics, questions I would have loved to chat about, but I'm sure we'll get a chance to do this again sometime soon. So before we shut off, maybe let people know any upcoming projects that you have, stuff you want to plug, any upcoming events maybe you're playing at that you want to let people know.
Well, I'm going to be in Dallas on the 23rd. If Dallas happens to be in here right now, come say hi to the boy. Be happy to see everybody. First time really out and about again since all the prior COVID madness. And I'm about to just re-promote the Sonically Speaking project. So if you can head over to Bandcamp, type up Sonically Speaking, and you want to support, so be it. But I'm getting ready to just give it a second vamp over before we go into the rest of the year. Hip hop, there's a bunch of hip hop stuff coming, and there's also, of course, pounds of drum and bass coming. So I'm busy, I'm happy, and that's what I got. So looking forward for you guys hearing everything.
Brilliant. Well, it's been a pleasure, man. All the best with your upcoming projects, and let's stay in touch then.
Yes. Thank you, Simon, for having me through, bro. Salute.
Cheers.
Man.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. All right.